This is a big deal. This is open source. It's open to everyone. Sign your hash. This is Brock Pierce 1, Episode 2, and I am one of your hosts, Brock Pierce. I feel like I'm saying that a few times. And we also have
Ben Sigmund. How you doing?
And
Justin Buck, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and remember to like the channel and subscribe if you like what you see, and comment. You know, this is intended to be an interactive show. We want to hear what you think, what you want to know about. You can shape this show for future episodes, so please chime in, and you can also join our Telegram group, which I believe is Brock Pierce 1.
Yeah.
And
it'll be right here.
Yeah, very engaging show, and want to start out, I guess, today by thanking the 141 accounts that are voting with us. But we also want to thank anyone that's voting, period, whether you're voting directly for block producers, whether you are proxying your vote to another proxy or us. The most important thing you can do is rock the vote, get engaged, participate. If you want the EOS price to go up, if you want the EOS community and ecosystem to thrive, it requires your participation. Please get involved. I guess the first thing I'd like to mention today, outside of our gratitude and expressing that and our thanks to all those that are fully engaged and staking, and there's a lot at stake, is I saw groundhogs. You know, I've been seeing groundhogs everywhere this week. I think crypto winter is officially over.
It's been getting a little bit warmer.
Yeah, and I'll point to the specific data, which has me say I know crypto winter is over. I don't think it's over. I don't think this is just a temporary pop. The thing that you want to go read about, if you care, is what Cambridge Associates just announced 5 days ago. And that is, and they are, by the way, they're the organization that tells all the big pensions in the world, all the big endowments, the big family offices, the institutions of the world, how they should allocate their assets and how they should, you know, what that asset allocation chart should look like. And they are recommending, I think, that 50 basis points of every major portfolio should be allocated to crypto and blockchain. I think that is at least $300 billion is going to be coming into the ecosystem. These are big institutions, so they move slowly. But a $300 billion injection of capital coming in over the next few years, I think, means the end of this crypto winter. I mean, summer's coming early, or spring has come early.
Spring is happening.
And yeah, the movie recommendation this week would be Groundhog Day, which is, I believe, based upon the Russian philosophers. It's Gurdjieff and Uspensky. Great piece.
It's all about rebirth. It's one of my favorite movies. You can watch it again and again. It's a great comedy, and yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah. So I guess great stuff. Important
great stuff,
to so let's. What else do we want to cover? Oh, a couple of other pieces of breaking news. We have Tapatalk that has 300 million users. I think they were building up their DApp on top of Kin. I think they just announced yesterday, that they are migrating to the EOS chain, or they've outgrown that chain. Yeah. Again, we're chain agnostic, love all the chains, rooting for Kin, but this is an EOS show, so congratulations, EOS. And another one is Effect.ai. I think that was the biggest DApp built on top of Neo. Also just announced in the last 24 hours that they are migrating to EOS.
Yeah.
Again, outgrowing their chain, but we, big fans of Neo, continue to support them as well. This is not rising tides raise all ships, but this is an EOS show, and so that's congratulations to the EOS ecosystem. We are fortunate to have, you know, some of the biggest dApps and biggest user communities in the world migrating to this platform. Mm-hmm. Ben, what's it's been a week since our last show. Anything that you'd like to cover today?
Well, you know, I think you were touching on the topic of voting, and for all the voters out there, thank you for voting. And if you're not voting yet, get to voting, because one of the big issues we had this week was that a block producer went to the top 21 without a blacklist. And the blacklist was protecting hacked accounts that we were already protecting for months. There's over 100 block producers on blacklists already working, but this one block producer didn't. And for the reasons, I don't know why, but voters voted for them to go up into the top 21, and then the account that was blacklisted had all of the tokens sucked out and totally shattered into hundreds of accounts, basically, where we can't even track them or even attempt to recover them at this point.
And well, that's probably why we're in a sea of green today, and EOS is one of the only tokens that's down today. There might be a direct correlation between that. You know, we're having such wonderful things happening. This is stuff that shouldn't be happening, and I'm not sure, in terms of voters voting for games.eos, you know, how many actual community members are voting, or how much of that is sort of collusion. Not good.
Yeah, it's not good. And the solution to collusion is actually more people voting.
Yeah, the collusion of whales joining together and voting up their friends, block producers. That problem goes away if enough of us start to block the vote. If enough of us are participating in the ecosystem, it will be too difficult to collude your way into the top 21. So it's so important that you participate. Problems like this would have been avoided if more of us were staking. So back to what's at stake, stuff like this. Justin, anything you want to bring up today? We've had another amazing week.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So I do agree with you that this issue with the blacklist was completely unfortunate, and what do we do about it is really the question at hand. And I think that could bring us into talks about referenda that we were going to talk about, whether we want to vote on them or not. And one that I think could help with this is the EUA. It basically brings into existence a constitution or a set of rules that complements or explains exactly what we have today. And what it does is helps us leverage the idea of permissions and multi-sig. And what we can do is we can help to protect accounts instead of having to do this blacklist crazy thing that basically what happened is one BP was able to attack the network. This is supposed to be 15 out of 21. And I think that something like the EUA could help us move forward in an efficient manner.
Yeah, no, this is, we're going to go into on our next episode, I think, a deeper dive kind of covering the referenda items. And the EUA is one that everyone should familiarize themselves with, and from a constitutional sort of perspective, most people, I don't think, understand the significance of what that means as we start to build governed blockchains and we build in these governance systems. I mean, this goes all the way back to like the Magna Carta in the year 1215, which is kind of the original document that started to create governance and create the systems that provide the liberty, that we have today to the U.S. Constitution. You want to be a signatory on these documents. You want to have hashed your signature. I mean, 50 years from now, you want to have been a participant in this. So if you're not familiar, if you're not paying attention, if you haven't read up, try to read up so that you can weigh in and share your thoughts with us before we record our next episode, where we're going to take a deep dive, into these issues. And speaking of referenda, what other things should people be taking a look at right now?
Well, the constitutions are a big thing that's happening. It's a great chance to get involved in something bigger than yourself and have a real impact on a lot of people in the world through these constitutions. There's also the community constitution, which is up for referenda. It's a competing idea to the EUA. So that was drafted by EOS Amsterdam and some others who worked together to come up with another proposal that they want to use to replace the current interim constitution.
Yeah, again, this is why it's so important. The ideas of what these constitutions should look like, what these EUAs should look like, the conversation is being had. Participate in the conversation. History is in the making. We are making history right now. And you want to be a part of it. Yeah, this is a big deal. Get involved. Yeah. This is open source. It's open to everyone. You can be part of this. The Magna Carta was only available to barons. You had to be like substantial nobility to participate. And that was even true to some extent to the U.S. Constitution. This is open to everyone. Mm-hmm. You can, sign your hash. You can be a part of making history. This is the sort of things that your grandkids will be talking about. My mom did this. My dad did this. Yeah. They signed the Constitution that freed the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Be part of the making of history.
Yeah, the Constitution is a really important one. So there's 2 different referenda that are up for that. And Justin, what's another referenda that we're looking at right now?
I want to mention the most popular by turnout right now is Rex for All. And the idea there is Rex doesn't need a referenda to bring it to life. The block producers can enact it. It's ready to go in the code. But what Rex for All does is it sweetens the pot of what Rex brings. And that's from the names and RAM account. The future earnings, the revenues or earnings that they bring in will be used to help subsidize the Rex payments and make it more attractive. And the goal there is you get paid to stake, and it should hopefully bring more activity to the network.
Well, that brings up a point that I think is one of the main things I've heard as I continue to talk to whales and other EOS token holders about their participation. Another big pushback that I get from people is, I don't want to stake because it comes at a cost. By staking or voting, I lose my liquidity. If something happens in the market where I would want to sell for whatever reason, I'm a hodler, but I understand that it does come at a cost. Staking costs you something because it limits your ability to move out of the market if something is happening. I mean, today, if you saw the Games EOS hack or theft occur, it probably was a good time to quickly dump your EOS. I mean, if you're a trader or a traitor, I don't do those things, but I understand why people do. And so it does come at that expense. You're not nimble. You're not able to take advantage of the liquidity in the market that is rightfully your choice. And so if we want more people to participate, if we want to see hundreds of millions of EOS tokens voting, there needs to be an economic incentive because it costs you something to stake. It provides you with security, and you get to participate from a voting perspective, but there's an economic cost. And until we start to do things that offset that, this being one of those, we're going to see a limited number of people participating. And so I'm very interested in ways to compensate token holders for staking. We need to find ways to compensate, in my opinion.
To directly compensate them.
To directly compensate them for their participation, because we're not going to see enough people willing to participate until we've offset the cost of that lack of liquidity in some way.
Staking is also, you can view it as like your tokens get locked up, so it's almost like an investment in the network. So when you're staking, you're actually investing in EOS. The more tokens that we have staked and locked up, the less liquid we have. If the demand raises, the price goes up. It's just basic economics, yeah.
So I'm very interested in anything that compensates token holders for staking. So really excited about that conversation because that one addresses what I think is one of the most important issues. Mm-hmm. Any other topics you think we're going to cover in the referenda conversation of next week?
Yeah, the voting weight.
Voting weight. That's another important one. Should you have one token, one vote?
Because right now the system...
one of two things has to happen. Yeah. Either we need the proxy market, which is relevant to us. Proxies need to be established. We need lots of good proxies. We need lots of people doing the work. And proxies don't get compensated. So we need lots of proxies, and that will start to address the collusion in the market. Another way we can address the collusion is by having one token, one vote. Right now what happens is I vote for myself, is what most people are doing in the space. And then they go collude with others and say, I'll swap votes with you, and you vote for me and X, Y, and Z with their other 29 votes. That can be dealt with if more people start voting that are not BPs and don't have an incentive to collude, and if we start compensating them for their staking, that or more people start staking and giving those votes to proxies that are actually doing the work. I'm not sure what the right answer is, but clearly something needs to be done to reduce the level of collusion that's occurring in the market. And I think the two main solutions are either vote weighting or more proxies. That's why we're doing this. I'm indifferent as to the solution as long as we find solutions that benefit the ecosystem.
Well, as soon as the hack went through this week with games.eos, a lot of votes got moved around. Even some new voters came on board to vote for the block producers that were just underneath them to knock them back down. And it's still very tight. Like games.eos is right in there. So hackers could even vote for games to try to get their blacklist tokens through now and be able to profit even more.
Yeah, no, this is...
So, yeah.
We need to solve these issues, and we solve it by getting engaged, by voting, by staking. And if you don't know who to vote for, pick a proxy. We love Luke Stokes. There's lots of good proxies out there. We're one of, hopefully, many to come. And as these problems get solved, and I'd encourage other people to set up proxies. If you are willing to do the work, to diligence block producers, to think about the referenda issues, we need more proxies. And if we start compensating token holders for staking, we will see hundreds of millions of people start to stake hundreds of millions of tokens staked. We will see that happen. And if you want to have a successful proxy in the future, I think it's going to be very important that your proxy is live and operating before that wave of staking occurs. Now is the time to get engaged, to establish your proxy, get out there and start doing the work. This is the time. And, hope to see many more good proxies in the ecosystem. If you've enjoyed this episode, we're also going to be doing our first ever episode of Meet the Block Producers. Whoa. We have some very special guests in the studio today. We have the Liquid EOS team in town from Israel. Yeah. You might also know them from having created the bank core protocol. And they also have the DApp protocol, and this is going to be one of the first ever sort of conversations about the work that they're doing. They've been great contributors as block producers to technically sound, and just great contributors to the overall ecosystem, not just EOS, but, they're OGs. They're pre-Satoshi. They are pre the Bitcoin white paper, working on digital currencies. These are real OGs. Yeah. So lucky to have them in the studio. So if you like this...
Yeah, don't miss this coming up with AL from Bancor. He is an absolute genius.
And Galia.
And you're going to really like what he has to say.
Yeah, so again, subscribe. We hope to have we're going to have another episode next week. Tell us what you like. Come into Telegram. Tell us what you want us to talk about. And we are excited to premiere episode 1 of Meet the Block Producers with EOS. This is Brock Pierce.
See you later, Ben Sigmund.
And
Justin Buck. Had a great time,
peace
guys.
and love.
Peace.